All right, welcome. Today we are plugging into one of the biggest topics out there, our planet's massive and growing appetite for energy.
I mean, really stop and think about it for a second. The sheer amount of power it takes to keep our world running 24/7. From your phone to your lights to, well, everything. It all adds up. But what's the real cost of keeping the lights on?
So to figure out the cost, first we've got to get a handle on the basic idea. What exactly do we mean by energy demand?
Okay, so the main thing to get is that energy demand isn't just one number. It's the total amount of energy a country or a population uses, and believe me, it is wildly different all over the world. You can almost think of it like a collective energy appetite, and some countries are way hungrier than others. So we know what it is, but the really big question is why? Why is this global appetite for energy getting bigger and bigger all the time? Let's get into the main drivers. A huge piece of the puzzle is right in our own homes. We call it domestic demand. And it starts with some pretty simple math, right? More people on the planet means, well, more energy is needed. But it's also about how we live. Things we totally take for granted now, like electricity for all our gadgets, well, they're becoming essentials in more and more homes, multiplying the demand. Next up, we've got the two absolute giants of energy use, industry and transport. Just think about what it takes to manufacture something like steel. It requires an unbelievable amount of power. And then we load those products onto gigantic ships that chug fossil fuels to get them across the ocean. And because stuff is getting cheaper to make, we all buy more, which just fuels the fire for, you guessed it, more production and more transport. It's a massive, powerful cycle. And there's this really strong connection between energy and the economy. It works like this. When the economy is doing well, more people have jobs. When people have more money, they tend to buy more stuff. And buying more stuff drives up the demand for the energy needed to make all that stuff. It's a feedback loop that powers both the economy and our energy consumption. Oh, and we absolutely can't forget about the climate itself. This one's pretty intuitive. If you live somewhere with cold winters, you're obviously going to use more energy for heating. But on the flip side, as the planet gets warmer, more and more places need energy-guzzling air conditioners. So just our desire to stay comfortable has a pretty big energy price tag.
So, we've established that our world is incredibly thirsty for energy, and a whole lot of that comes from oil. But what happens when our search for that oil goes terribly wrong? Let's take a look at the hidden cost to our environment.
When you see major oil pollution in the oceans, it usually happens in one of three ways. First, you might get a leak from an offshore drilling rig. Second, the pipelines that transport the oil can break or leak. And third, probably the one we see most in the news, is when the massive oil tankers that ship this stuff around the world have an accident.
And the impact of a spill. It's absolutely catastrophic. It starts at the very bottom of the food web. The oil slick spreads out, blocking sunlight from reaching the tiny little organisms called phytoplankton. These little guys are the foundation of almost all life in the ocean. No sunlight, no photosynthesis, and they die off, collapsing the entire base of the food web.
And that effect just ripples right up the food chain. With the phytoplankton gone, there's a massive food shortage for all the fish. But the oil also delivers a brutal 1-2 punch. It can stop oxygen from getting into the water, and it can literally clog up a fish's gills, basically suffocating them. And the images we always see, the effect on marine birds, it's just devastating. That thick, toxic gunk coats their feathers and makes it impossible for them to fly, but it also destroys their natural insulation. It's like their wetsuit and their winter coat are gone all at once. They can't find food, and they often die from the cold. Okay, I know that's a really bleak picture, but it is not the end of the story. These huge challenges have actually sparked some incredible new ideas and strategies. So let's shift gears and start talking about the solutions.
The most powerful strategy is often the simplest one. Just use less energy. And one of the best ways to do that is with good old-fashioned insulation. Think of it like this: loft insulation, cavity wall insulation, double glazing. It's all basically putting a warm coat on your house. It keeps the heat in so your heater doesn't have to work so hard. So simple, but the impact is huge.
All right, so here's a quick challenge. Just pause for a second and look around you, whether you're at home or at school. Can you spot any of this stuff? Double glazed windows are usually pretty easy to find. See? That's environmental management in action right there. Okay, another really clever solution is turning a problem, our waste, into a resource. There's a process called anaerobic digestion, where bacteria break down organic waste and produce biofuel. Now, the upsides are awesome. You reduce pollution and you recycle waste.
But there's always a but, right? It only works with organic stuff and can release some nasty gases, which just goes to show you that there's no single perfect solution.
Now, what we do as individuals is super important, but to really make a dent in global energy use, we need governments to create smart policies. Things like education campaigns and those energy efficiency ratings you see on new fridges. It also means investing in better public transport and pushing for cleaner cars. And finally, it means having tough regulations, like building codes that force new houses to be energy efficient right from the start.
And here is a fantastic example of how one smart rule can make a world of difference. Remember those oil tankers? Well, after some terrible spills, it became international law that new tankers had to have a double hull. It's just an extra layer of steel, so if the outer layer gets punctured, the inner one still holds the oil. A brilliantly simple idea, backed by law, that has made our oceans so much safer. It's a total game changer.
So, there you have it. We've looked at what's driving our energy demand, the really serious costs of pollution, and a whole range of solutions, from insulating your attic to changing international law. It's pretty clear there's no single magic answer. Our energy future is going to be a mix of new tech, smart rules, and honestly, the choices we all make. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Of all these strategies we've talked about, which one do you think has the power to change our energy future the most?